bit of information rather than skin tone, because skin tone doesn't tell you very much, really.
No, but do you think the public's got a right to this information? I do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Because
the only trouble is, all right. So you get the information given to us. What are we going to do with it? We're just going to suddenly always say, "Oh, look at that!" The majority of people.
Yeah, well, it should be targeted.
Roman Catholics,
Yeah, it should be targeted at those countries. If a particular country's got a very high prison population, they should take more care about who they let into this country. I mean, again, this week they granted visas to 270 odd care workers to come into the UK who were all working for a care home. Guess what? The care home didn't exist. Now, why on earth? So it's fundamental as that. They can't check. Clearly the Home Office is not fit for purpose, is it? So why are they not doing something about, revamping the whole system?
Well,
you start discriminating against people, don't you? Because you said earlier on, all right. So it's discovered or published that X country has got more criminals incarcerated than anybody else. So we'll check all the people coming in from that country a lot harder. Why? Because they're not necessarily those people that are coming in are bad.
No, not all, but they could check. They could look closer at the criminal records of those they're letting in from every country, but they don't. I mean, we look at the number of convicted criminals they let into this country from, say, Albania and places like that.
Well, didn't they go back to Albania and say...
they're saying that they're coming over on the boat, on the lorries now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a story here in one of the national newspapers about a man wanted to face child sex abuse allegations in Latvia, who was moved from a home by a primary school after this national newspaper exposed, or they raised concern. But he's now in a hotel that is booked by families with children.
Yeah.
I mean, this chap is 20 years of age, has been put in a hotel with taxpayers putting the bill through Northamptonshire Police. Yeah, well, that says it all, doesn't it? Because they're not coming out very well at the moment. He was earlier living on conditional bail in a Kettering area, in a hotel next to a school. He'd been bailed by the judge at Westminster Magistrates Court while he fights extradition to Latvia, where he is alleged to have seriously sexually assaulted a 7-year-old girl and allegedly raped a second girl aged 10. I'm sorry, when you get to that sort of stage, you don't put these people in hotels or whatever.
No, and it's not an isolated case, is it? So they're saying now that all of a sudden, since this mass migration to this country, these areas of high migration, the sex crimes have got up absolutely through the roof.
Yeah.
And it cannot just be coincidence.
No.
It's the way they treat women, isn't it? They've got no respect. Some races, some religions.
Well, that came to the forefront in Rochdale, didn't it?
Well, amongst other places, nearly every city in the country.
I think Rochdale's just an example of where the police, where it's been caught, because I think
eventually.
Yeah, I think.
But then before that, there's Cyril Smith, of course, didn't they? Before that, in Rochdale.
Well, yeah, this is.
Yeah, well, he's an embarrassment to just about everybody that had anything to do with him.
Well, he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he can't.
But, you got the biggest one, of course, was Chayaz, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile,
Yeah, but he got away with it. They knew what he was doing, but he got away with it because of who he was.
Exactly.
But you talk to anybody that worked at the hospital, at Stoke Mandeville, and nobody that I knew that worked there had a good word to say for him. I hated it when he came around because they knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And then you got this bloke in Ireland, Northern Ireland, who's just resigned. Obviously, he's been chucked out. What's that all about? Gross sexual misconduct or something?
Well, apparently a couple of women have come forward and accused him of rape. Historical rape. I don't know. I don't know how much of that is politics.
Yeah, well, you're right. You don't know, do you?
We don't know. I mean, he was the consensus leader for his party, and now the I don't know, the party must be in a terrible state. I mean, it's an absolute death knell to I don't know, the loyalists in the so-called loyalists.
The DUP, isn't it?
Yeah. Unbelievable. How can somebody who has that sort of a background get elected to that sort of position? That's what I don't get.
They just don't check, do they?
Where's the background check?
Or they put cover-ups. It's covering up things all the time.
Cover it up, isn't it? You know, that sounds much more like cover-ups than that. You know, it's.
I think we are rapidly heading towards a lawless society.
Yeah.
You know, when you get the Generation Z, they want to do away with democracy in an event, don't they? They don't think we should be funding the police. So really? What do we do? Yeah.
I did hear that from an extremist.
It's not just extremists. It's what's been taught. It started out mainly in the universities in America. The what do you call them? The Ivy League universities, such as
Harvard.
Where? Not Harvard. Where is it? Harvard.
Harvard,
yeah, Harvard and places like that, and it's spread rapidly to our universities. And they're coming out of there, and they're making excuses now. It's because kids don't like the way they've been treated by the older generation, because they're taking away their chances of getting property and all the rest of it. It all relates to this, and standards of living, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But they've got this brave view of everything.
I mean, but you've got it where you've got the British Army now is going to allow beards.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? And the Navy and the Air Force do.
Well,
the SAS do.
So, Mike, just to fully understand your even bringing it up as an issue, what have you got against the bloke wearing a beard?
Well, you for a start.
They said we'd have to wear masks, facial masks for gas protection.
Well,
it's unsafe.
It won't get on properly in that, but...
So the Navy and the Air Force don't have to do that either, really?
No, because they're at sea. They just jump in the water and get out of the way, you see, so...
No.
It's... Traditionally in the army, there was one rank in the Pioneer Corps, I think it was, a sergeant could wear a beard, and that's all. But you see, it's all part of tradition that is being changed. And
the SAS and the Long Range Desert Group and people like that, they have beards.
Yeah, but that was through circumstance more than anything. It was part of a disguise.
It's sort of like more eco-friendly. You don't have to make razor blades, and you don't have to use all that water shaving, and you can get rid of all that shaving foam. Yeah, no.
Don't you think a lot of this tradition should go out the window? I mean, I was looking at Parliament the other day, and you think they're all wandering around these silly sticks, like maces and things like that. Not the mate, but this one had a little thing over his shoulder after they gave this vote. And you think all this business and Black Rod knocking on the door and having the door shut, and he says, "Don't you think it's time for we got modernise this a little bit?"
No, I don't.
Which would include getting rid of the Lords.
We need those.
I'm agreeing with Mike.
We need those sorts of things.
And judges wearing wigs.
Yeah, we need those sorts of things.
Do you think so?
Yeah, of course we do.
Why?
Yeah, because it's tradition.
You effectively transfer head lice.
It's tradition.
Yeah, but no judges in other countries, well, apart from under British rule, colonies and stuff, have judges that wear wigs. Some of them look like sheep.
Once you start getting rid of tradition, I mean that's it's just another word of wokeism. That's all. Let's get rid of tradition. Why have tradition?
I don't entirely agree with it. I think some of it needs to change.
Well, it doesn't. Tradition's historical.
That's your opinion. Mine's
well, I'm entitled to it, aren't I?
Of course you are.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there things you think should change?
Well, I would.
They changed tradition by taking away capital punishment, didn't they?
Well, look where it's got us.
Exactly right.
More knife crime, all this to it.
Yeah, but you look at the sentences. I've been watching this traffic police late at night, and every single case of these people they catch. There's a guy last night, he drove 140 miles an hour, and he eventually crashes, and he got 120 fine and 18 months ban.
Yeah.
Well, you're paying nearly £120 for breaking a 30 mile an hour limit, aren't you now?
Yeah. I mean,
the punishments just do not fit the crimes, do they? As
they don't.
Gilbert Sullivan would say.
They don't, and it's. I mean, this again, you see, it's because it's tradition, isn't it? We're breaking with traditions.
Yeah.
I mean, how much does it cost? Some of these police chases with a helicopter and 4 or 5 police cars and all the rest of it, it's cost a few bob. Well, why don't they recoup that money from the miscreants?
Yeah.
Even if they say, all right, sorry, but you got to pay 20 quid for the rest of your life. 20 quid a week for the rest of your life or whatever. I mean, it doesn't add up. And as you say, you get these horrendous cases, and the police say, no further action was taken.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of these last night again. That's the same thing happened there.
Yeah. Well, Brisbane Girl and Terry and all that have got a lot of talk in that.
Yeah, I know.
We better bring someone out to date, really, because the listener who's not on Mixcloud won't be able to see what's going on. So you're going to say a few words, Bob?
Yeah, I think Terry's idea of deporting Australians back to England is not a good idea because we don't want them back here, but I can see the sense in it. Brisbane Girl says that's dangerous. But also we're going on to the point of wigs and in judges with wigs and such. They do in Australia still have wigs. I think I think they do in all Commonwealth countries or former colonies of the UK still have wigs in their legal system. But I think it can be sometimes a bit imposing on the subjects on trial.
But why not? I mean, it's a bit like, wearing ties.
It's sort of holy. Well, that's gone out the window, isn't it?
Well,
thank goodness. I couldn't see the point of tie.
I mean, I was brought up as a schoolboy to wear a tie and to wear a tie properly as well. It was done up with the top button was done up.
You're not the bottom bit over the top sort of thing, yeah.
But, I mean, you get school kids nowadays and, they've got a tie on, but, it's halfway down their flipping chest,
Yeah.
And... all right, I'm pleased that doctors were excused wearing ties in hospitals because, I mean, if they're bending over a patient, the tie could get into wrong places and all that sort of thing, But at the end of the day, it's just traditions. I mean, you've got companies now, I don't know whether they still do it, but BT tried to do it when I worked for them years ago, that, you never come to the office in casual...
dress down day on Fridays.
Dress down day, yeah.
Yeah, I think it still continues.
Yeah. Well, most modern offices are dressed down every day.
Well, they're not because they're not at work. They're all working from home.
I mean, there are people...
They're in their pyjamas working from home, aren't they?
But a lot of people go to the office wearing T-shirts and a pair of jeans, particularly in the information world and distribution and warehouse and, who's going to wear a tie in a warehouse? So, but if you go and see a solicitor, often they will be wearing a tie.
Well, I think we should put it out to
it makes them more self-important when you're wearing a tie.
Yeah, we should put it out to our audience, see what they think about this. Do they still think this tradition still being kept is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, that's a good question, actually, Bob.
Well, I want to see my military with beards and no ties.
Well, of course you do, I mean, in the military is now, when they go out for drill, for instance, it's now, would you turn to the right, please? And, would you halt? I mean, stop. Will you please stop,
Yeah, but it's the gender issues as well, isn't it, now? I mean, my niece's husband, he runs an ETC group down in Cornwall. And they've had a memo around saying that if one of the male members wants to come dressed as a woman or in women's clothing or girls' clothing, because they're kids, aren't they? And they've got to accept it. And they've also got to accept, of course, the pronouns that they want to be called. And my niece said that at a school down in Cornwall, there's 2 girls said they want to be regarded as cats.
Yeah.
And they want litter trays in the classroom.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. This has actually happened.
I know.
I mean, where are we going with this? Isn't this absolute pure stupidity? But the stupidity of it is, why do we give in to it?
That is a very good question, Bob, actually. I mean,
why is authority just denouncing it all and saying, denouncing tradition and saying, sorry, if you want to be dressed as a cat and come to school as a cat, that's fine with us. You can meow when we ask you questions.
Well, what
is wrong with that? Everything's wrong with it, and it surely.
Probably the answer.
A group of nutters, aren't we?
Probably the answer to your question, Bob, is the fact that the people who are running the authorities and that are from the same ilk, because they're probably closeted females and all this sort of thing, and they're just busting to get it legal, so that they can go to work in miniskirts and all this sort of thing, I mean, I don't mind admitting I'd love to have gone to work in a miniskirt sometimes. I mean, I've got a lovely...
There's not a lot we can say about that, Alan, is there?
He's come to work in a tutu before now.
We know
it's short change.
Yeah, well, we always know he's a cross-dresser.
I have been known to go to work in a tutu, but...
yeah.
No restrictions there.
You're absolutely right.
I think we make too much of it. And the 2 girls that wanted to be called a cat did it for sensationalism. And look, we're talking about it. It worked.
It's not just sensationalism, is it? I mean,
what it is? I mean, realistically,
what are they teaching kids in school these days? This is the worrying factor.
Well, that's something I don't know enough about really, but it does seem that the curriculum is twisted to something that doesn't represent the values that I had when I was a young man at school. You don't get beaten every day for arguing with a teacher like I used to.
Yeah, we all did. Well, not as bad as it.
And what harm did it do you?
Look at the state of me now.
Well, that's true.
I forgot that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But look at this. What about this teacher? This teacher's lost his job, and he took to a tribunal, the school to a tribunal, because he refused to accept this girl's pronoun, that she chosen pronoun. I mean, this guy's been teaching 18 years, and now, of course, they turned it around and saying, "Oh, he was persecuting the girl and mocking her, and all the rest of it," which led to other students mocking her. Well, really, should the girl be looking at herself?
What pronoun did she want to use?
I think it was they.
They.
Yeah. And then he